What's up guys, it's Crossroads of Twilight. It is part 2 and there's going to be tons of spoilers. So if I'm honest with you, I have a massive cold. I was supposed to do this video in the middle of the week, but the cold persisted. This is the first time I've been ill in like 2 years. So I decided just to crack on so we can put this video out on Sunday. So please forgive me for the nasally sound. So to the second part of the book, I'm at around about page 400, maybe just a bit past that. And I'll be honest, I can see why people get a little bit frustrated with this book. And I have quantified it. So the reason why people get frustrated in this book, and basically the reason why I get frustrated with this book at this point, is because I'm about 400 pages in, like I said, maybe a little bit further, and I am only really just catching up with where the last book finished. So we went back in time for all the storylines to catch back up to where we were with the removal of the taint. Plus, the Hanlon storyline is so slow. However, some things did happen. One thing that has been quite fun is seeing everybody's reaction to the taint being removed. And most people don't really know what's happening. All they know is that a ton of cider is being used really far away. And most people's guess is that it's the Forsaken doing something mega. And what it reminded me of is what I imagine it was probably like thousands of years ago, before science could really explain anything, when there was like a solar eclipse. It was probably just like, what on earth is happening? But because of that slow movingness, we haven't really seen any fallout. We haven't really seen any of the Asherman or other men who can channel really use the male half of the power without the taint yet. So I'm really excited for that moving forwards. In Faile's storyline, she now has a secret admirer, and this admirer heated up the cart that she was put on for her punishment. So that'll be interesting. Hopefully she doesn't have to actually, go further with the secret admirer for him to help her escape. But I have a strong confidence in her ability to escape, because I just don't see any way that our boy Perrin is going to be able to save her with that many people around her. One thing I did want to say, and I don't want to be crude, but it's in the book anyway. Robert Jordan definitely has a few obsessions, and one of them is people having all their clothes stripped off. Another one is people being switched or spanked, essentially, and then also people being tied up and mind controlly. And yeah, it's clear to see that that's something that he thinks about a lot, because it's a concurrent theme in every single book, and in so many scenes, the Aes Sedai and the Wise Ones use really similar punishments. So yeah, I think it definitely kind of shows us where Robert Jordan's head is at with regards to some things. So yeah, it was just interesting. I thought I'd bring that up because it's been something I've been thinking for quite a while now. But yeah, tell me you guys' thoughts on that, because although he doesn't really go into a lot of detail on things sexually, which I appreciate, some series you want it, some series you don't. This one's much more epic, so I'm happy it's not in there. However, he has some clear underlying tones in there. We see a ghost. Well, we don't see them, but somebody in one of the houses that Elaine is visiting does, and it gets completely papered over. So I feel maybe that was someone important stepping out of Tel'aran'rhiod, and they say it was someone from their house, so maybe someone from Hanlon. I'm not sure how that ties into the story. I know that Rand supposedly had a family member from one of the houses, I believe, but I can't remember all the details of it. But I do predict that we're gonna that was just papered over immediately. Everyone was oh yeah, not a big deal. She must have just seen something. So that'll come back to bite us, and that was definitely something important, I believe. And I've been thinking about Jain Farstrider, and somebody pointed out to me after the last video, I thought Jain was from a really long time ago, but actually he's just the generation older than Rand. So there's not a ton of characters who are unaccounted for. So I have 2 guesses as to who Jain Farstrider could possibly be. One is Tom Merrilin, not because it makes logical sense, but just because Tom Merrilin seems to be a man who has lived many lives. So if somehow he was also found time to be Jain Farstrider, I wouldn't be mad about it. However, we do have another character that showed up with no real backstory, seems about the right kind of age, and has some really cool skills, and it's Noel. He's over there with Matt, and we already know that he's kind of mystical from one of the scenes that we got when he originally popped up. But we haven't had any more backstory from him there. So if I had to guess, if Jain Farstrider is going to pop up in this story, as I have an inkling that he would, my guess would be Noel. Now, we do have one interesting storyline coming out of Camelin. Well, they're all interesting. We have one that's moving at a juicy pace, let me say. And its name is Mr. Hanlon. So Mr. Hanlon is obviously the head of like the Queen's guards, you know, below Burgett, and also is meeting with the Black Arja. And what it seems is that the Black Arja and those Aes Sedai do not want Elaine to sit on the throne. You know, clearly what they probably want is to put Elenia on the throne, if not one of them to go and take the throne. So my guess, my prediction would be Elenia is their candidate, because we had a short scene with Elenia outside of the gates. It looks like she's going to try and take control of that faction outside of there. And honestly, this storyline is moving so slowly. I can't remember another one that moves slowly, and it's just simply because it's very political. Obviously, we're looking at succession, but there's also the kin, there's Aes Sedai, there were Windfinders there as well. And like I said before, anything with like more than one faction of, especially women who can channel, they're quite diplomatic, so it just takes quite a long time for them to get anything resolved. Still interesting, but yeah, boy, is it taking a while. My prediction is when that eventually resolves, and I don't even have hope that that's going to be resolved this book. I think it's going to be like a next book and beyond thing. I think everyone, minus the people in the White Tower storyline, is going to be there. So I think Rand, I think Matt, I think Perrin, somehow I believe everybody's going to come to Camelin. And I think we're going to get like a huge battle inside of Camelin, because we have so many important parts. We have the Asherman, both different factions like Mazrim Taim's and also Logan's as well. We have Black Arja. We have Aes Sedai loyal to Elena. We have Egwene's Aes Sedai / Elaine's group of people. There's just so much going on there. And then we jump to the White Tower. So it's pretty clear that Egwene is trying to do the right thing. Nobody wants the White Tower to be destroyed. And I think that is important, because with the taint removed, I think maybe we'll be able to unite all of the men. I mean, there's going to have to be a battle for that as well. But if we could unite all the men, that would be great for the final battle. So for the final battle, we also need all of the women who aren't Dark Friends on the same side. So we do need like a peaceful conclusion to this. However, for the sake of enjoyment, I would love for there to be like a widespread magical battle, because we haven't really had one where there's more than like one or two people on either side of a magical battle. And I just think it would be incredible, because Robert Jordan writes these magical battles so vividly and so intricately, and it's so simple to visualize when he's doing them, that I think it would just be so much fun. But I assume I'll probably have to wait until the final battle for that. I think what will probably happen is there's a lot of dissent in the White Tower anyway. A lot of people know that Aleda's essentially, you know, kind of insane. So I don't think it will be that difficult to bring people over to Egwene's side. Plus, a lot of them are committing crimes with the Oath Rod, and some of them are rebels, and we haven't quite figured out what's going on with, you know, people from the sitters being promoted really young. Like this, you know, that's been alluded to a lot of times, that there's something important there as well. But yeah, overall, I think most people don't like Aleda. Also, I just want to throw out there, if a bunch of you unsubscribe because of my runny nose, I get it. It's not the most attractive thing in the world. However, I wanted there to be something to watch on Sunday. So yes, I could see them somehow deposing Aleda, because, like I said, some of them are committing crimes in the White Tower. Like I said, with the Oath Rod and some other things. So they could be given amnesty for their crimes if they come over to Egwene, because, you know, everyone's committed some crimes at this point. So I think that would be like a quick and simple way to depose of Aleda. However, obviously Alvarin, Aleda, Masana, is it Masana or Masema? The Forsaken in the White Tower, they're not going to allow that easily. So I think that once Aleda is deposed, maybe she turns to a Dark Friend, or turns, you know, Black Arja, or stays under the influence of Alvarin anyway. Like, I could definitely see that happening. But yes, I'm not sure how they're going to do it. It's going to be political, but I'm just hoping that we get some kind of cool showdown. Definitely the Forsaken. Like, I feel like more likely Aleda will be like losing her mind. I can't believe it. Refusing to believe that, you know, everyone's getting rid of her and it's falling down around her, because she definitely has like a kind of god complex. I could see her foregoing maybe her oaths, or throwing them off with the Oath Rod, or turning to the dark side and deciding to just try and attack somebody. So I hope we get some kind of battle, essentially, but I'm thinking it's going to be small. And honestly, that's it. It's not that I haven't enjoyed this part of the book. It's just that not much has happened. Like, it's a lot of posturing, it's a lot of politics, it's a lot of setup. And yeah, there's definitely been better bits. However, I have enjoyed it. I do have some questions for you. So if you decided to read all the books after they had been all printed, so you picked up the first one and the last one had already been printed, how long did it take you to read these books? Because for me, it's going to be definitely over a year, but I have obviously stopped to do videos, and I've also stopped to read a different book in between each one, except for maybe the fourth and fifth. I think between those two, I was just way too fired up. I had to know what was going down next. Or maybe it was the fifth and the sixth. I'll double check that. But yeah, how long did it take you guys? Did you read it like back to back all the way through? Because this is definitely going to take me over a year. If I had no gaps in between, like no books in between, and I didn't stop to make videos, I think maybe I could half the time realistically. But yeah, I'm interested to know, like, what length of time did it take you guys to read these books? And the last thing I wanted to bring up was bookmarks. So somebody noticed, I think it was in the last video or the one before, I pretty much use anything for a bookmark. I always get a new bookmark when I go to Barnes and Nobles because they just give them to you for free, which is great. But I always lose them somehow. So I end up using just whatever is around me. So obviously something clean like a receipt or one of my little doggy bags. But whatever's around. But like, is that something everybody does? Because I even sometimes go to Barnes and Noble and I'll pull it out and I realize I've got like a poop bag in the book. And people look at me funny. And I've never noticed anyone else doing it. But what do you guys use for bookmarks? So you have professional things, or do you remember the page? Do some of you turn the top of the page? You maniacs. Yeah, let me know. I'm interested. Outside of that, please like and subscribe. Sorry again for doing this all stuffed up with colds, but I wanted to be able to continue the book and read more, which meant I had to let you guys know what had happened so far and what I thought about it. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have an amazing day.